Admiral Kale walked slowly across the bridge of his massive warship. Through the giant windows, he could see the swirling colors of the quantum storm that surrounded Earth's solar system. The storm looked like a wall of angry lightning that never stopped moving. It had been there for 3 long years. "Sir, the daily report," said his officer, handing him a datapad. Kale smiled as he read it. The humans were trapped inside that storm wall, and they were dying slowly. No food could get in, no messages could get out. Soon they would have to surrender. "How much longer do our scientists think they can last?" Kale asked. "Maybe 6 more months, Admiral? Their planet must be running out of everything by now." Far below on Earth, Dr. Minho Park climbed down metal stairs into a secret underground lab. The city of Seoul above him was dark and quiet. The humans had turned off all their lights and radios 3 months ago. They wanted the aliens to think they were giving up. But down here, hundreds of scientists worked day and night. The lab was huge, stretching for miles under the city. Bright lights hung from the ceiling, and computers hummed everywhere. "Juan, how is the storm research going?" Minho asked Dr. Juan Kim. She was the smartest person he knew when it came to understanding. Energy.G1 looked tired. Her eyes were red from staring at screens for too long. "I think I found something important, Minho. The storm isn't just random chaos. There's a pattern hidden inside it." She pointed to her computer screen. Lines of energy moved in strange ways, but Minho could see what she meant. There was a rhythm to it, like music only scientists could hear. "If we can understand this pattern completely, we might be able to use it," Juan continued. "Instead of trying to break through the storm, what if we learn to swim in it?" In another part of the lab, Captain Jiho Nam was looking at pieces of alien technology. 3 years ago, when the war started, humans had managed to capture some alien ships before the storm wall went up. They were taking those ships apart to learn how they worked. "The alien engines use quantum energy," Jiho explained to his team. "They create small tears in space to move fast. But our storm wall is made of the same kind of energy, just much stronger." Dr. Soman Lee, who was working on ship designs, had an idea. "What if we built ships that don't fight against the storm energy? What if we made ships that eat the storm energy and get stronger from it?" The idea sounded crazy, but Minho liked crazy ideas. "Show me what you're thinking, Salmon." She led him to a different room where a strange-looking ship was being built. It was smaller than normal human ships, but covered in metal spikes and energy collectors. It looked like a sea creature. "That was made for swimming in dangerous waters. We call it a storm rider," Salmon said proudly. "Instead of normal fuel, it feeds on quantum chaos. The more dangerous the storm, the faster and stronger it gets." Above ground, in the Hegemony fleet, Commander Heian was reading reports from spy satellites. "Still no signs of life from the human worlds," he told his team. "Their biggest cities are completely dark. No radio signals, no ship movements, nothing." The other alien officers laughed. "Humans always seemed tough, but they broke faster than we expected," one of them said. "But if they had looked more carefully at their instruments, they might have noticed something strange." Deep underground on Earth, energy readings were actually getting stronger every day, not weaker. The humans weren't using less power, they were just hiding it better. Back in the Seoul lab, the first Storm Rider ship was almost ready for testing. Dr. Yoonji Shin was in charge of the weapons systems. She had found a way to turn the storm energy into incredibly powerful guns. "When this energy hits a target, it doesn't just explode," she explained to Minho. "It tears holes in space itself. Nothing can defend against it because the attack comes from inside reality." Minho felt excited and scared at the same time. "Are we ready for the first test flight?" Captain Doyan Choi, their best pilot, stepped forward. "My crew is ready, sir. We've been practicing in the simulators for months. We know how to ride the storm." The ship was moved to a secret launch tunnel that led directly into the storm wall. As Do-yeon and his crew climbed aboard, everyone in the lab held their breath. This moment would decide if humanity had a future or not. "Launch tunnel opening," announced the computer. "Storm interface in 30 seconds. Through the tunnel, they could see the wall of chaos waiting for them. It looked like flying into the mouth of a monster made of lightning and twisted space. "Here we go," Dojin whispered, as his ship shot forward into the storm. The first phase of humanity's secret plan was about to begin. The aliens thought they had trapped Earth in a prison, but they had actually given humans the key to becoming something new and dangerous. The storm that was meant to end humanity was about to become their greatest weapon. Commander Heian walked between the rows of monitoring equipment on his space station. Every screen showed the same thing: darkness where human worlds used to shine with light. He felt very pleased with what he saw. "Officer Zan, give me the weekly report on human activity," Heian said to his assistant. "Sir, it's the same as always. No radio signals from Earth, no ship movements anywhere in their system. The few probe scans we can push through the storm show, their cities are completely cold. No heat signatures, no electrical activity." Hyun nodded with satisfaction. "Good. How long do our science teams think they have left?" "Maybe for months, Commander. Their food supplies should be gone by now. They're probably eating whatever they stored for emergencies." Other alien officers on the bridge laughed quietly. They'd all heard stories about how tough humans were supposed to be, but the reality seemed very different. "I thought humans were supposed to be the dangerous ones," said Lieutenant Vex. "My grandfather fought them in the border wars 50 years ago, said they never gave up, even when they were losing badly." "That was different," Hyun replied. "Back then, they could run away to other worlds, get supplies, call for help. Now they're trapped. Even the toughest animal dies when you put it in a cage with no food. But far below them, inside the storm wall, something very different was happening. Deep under the city of Seoul, Dr. Gi-won Kim had not slept for 3 days straight. She stared at her computer screens, watching patterns in the storm energy that surrounded their solar system. Her coffee cup was cold, and her lab coat was wrinkled, but her eyes were bright with excitement. "Minho, come look at this," she called to Dr. Minho Park. Minho walked over to her workstation. The screen showed waves of energy moving in complex patterns. "What am I looking at, Juan? The storm isn't random at all. Look here." She pointed to specific parts of the pattern. "Every 17 minutes, the energy drops in this section. Every 34 minutes, it spikes in this other area. The aliens are using some kind of rotating system to keep the storm stable." This was the breakthrough they had been hoping for. If the storm had a pattern, then humans could learn to predict it. If they could predict it, they could use it. Another part of the underground facility, Captain Jiho Nam was testing the first Storm Rider ship. It sat in a huge chamber that could simulate the chaos of the quantum storm. The ship looked nothing like the sleek vessels humans used to build. It was covered in spikes and energy collectors that glowed with a strange blue light. "Power levels are holding steady," reported Dr. Somin Lee from her control station. "The quantum collectors are actually working better than we hoped. The ship is pulling more energy from the test storm than we thought possible." Jiho smiled from inside the cockpit. "It feels different from flying a normal ship. It's like surfing on an ocean made of lightning. The ship wants to go faster when the energy gets stronger." Above ground, the city of Seoul looked like a ghost town. But this was all part of the plan. Every human settlement had gone dark to fool the aliens into thinking they were dying. In reality, millions of people had moved into underground cities that had been built in secret over the past 3 years. Dr. Yoonji Shin was working in the weapons laboratory, deep underground. She had taken apart alien energy guns and learned how they worked. Now, she was building something much more powerful. The alien weapons use quantum energy to destroy matter. She explained to her team, but our Storm Riders collect so much energy that we can make weapons 100 times stronger. When we shoot at an alien ship, we won't just damage it, we'll tear holes in space around it." Captain Do-Yan Choi was practicing in flight simulators with his crew. They were learning how to fly in the quantum storm, which was completely different from normal spaceflight. In the storm, up and down didn't always make sense, and time sometimes moved strangely. Remember, Doyen told his pilots, "Don't fight against the storm currents. Let them carry you where you want to go. The ship is designed to swim in chaos, not fight against it." Lieutenant Tai-Ho Lim, his best navigator, was getting good at reading the storm patterns. "I think I can predict where the calm spots will be up to an hour ahead of time. That should be enough time to plan our attacks." Meanwhile, in the hegemony fleet outside the storm, Admiral Kale was receiving reports from all the human colonies they had conquered. Every human world beyond the storm barrier had been taken easily. The humans who lived there had fought hard, but without help from Earth, they had no chance. "Sir, we've received surrender messages from the last 3 human colonies," his officer reported. "They're asking for mercy and offering to work for us." Kale felt proud of his victory. Good. Soon Earth will send the same message. Then this war will finally be over. But neither Kale nor his officers noticed the strange energy readings. Their deep space sensors were picking up brief, powerful pulses were coming from inside the storm, pulses that didn't match any known human technology. The humans were no longer just surviving in their quantum prison. They were becoming something new and dangerous. Captain Doyon Choi sat in the pilot seat of the first Storm Rider ship, his hands shaking slightly as he gripped the controls. Through the cockpit window, he could see the wall of quantum chaos that had trapped humanity for 3 years. Today, he would be the first human to fly into that storm and come back alive. "All systems are green," reported Lieutenant Taiho Lim from the navigator's seat. "Storm collectors are ready. Weapons are charged." Dr. Guan Kim's voice came through the radio from the underground control room. "Doyon, remember what we learned about the storm patterns? The energy drops every 17 minutes in Sector 7. That's your window to break through." "I understand," Doyon replied, trying to keep his voice steady. Beginning approach to the storm wall now, the ship moved forward into the swirling chaos. As soon as they entered the storm, everything changed. The ship didn't shake or fight against the energy like normal ships would. Instead, it seemed to come alive. The blue lights on the energy collectors grew brighter, and the ship moved faster and smoother. "This is incredible," Taiho whispered. "The ship is actually getting stronger from the storm energy." They flew through the chaos for what felt like hours, but was actually only 20 minutes. Then, suddenly, they broke through the other side. Open space stretched out before them, filled with alien ships that had no idea what was coming. "A target acquired," Doyon said quietly. "A Gemini monitoring station, just like intelligence said it would be." The alien station was huge, with powerful sensors pointed toward the storm wall. It was one of many stations that watched for any sign of human escape attempts. But the aliens never expected humans to actually fly through the storm itself. "Ready," Taiho announced. Quantum cannons charged to full power. Doyon pressed the firing button. Storm Rider's weapons didn't shoot normal energy beams. Instead, they fired concentrated quantum chaos, the same energy that made up the storm wall, but focused into a weapon that could tear holes in reality itself. The alien station didn't just explode. It seemed to fold in on itself and disappear, leaving only empty space where it had been a moment before. "Target destroyed," Doyon reported back to Earth. "No survivors detected," turning to storm barrier now. They flew back into the quantum wall and disappeared, leaving no trace that they had ever been there. Back on the hegemony command ship, Admiral Kale was having his morning meal when his communications officer ran onto the bridge, looking terrified. "Admiral, we've lost contact with monitoring station Eco 7. Kale put down his drink and frowned. "Equipment failure? We don't think so, sir." One moment the station was sending normal reports. The next moment, it just ... vanished. "Our long-range sensors detected a massive quantum energy spike right before we lost contact." "Show me the sensor data," Kale demanded. The tactical display showed the location where the monitoring station used to be. Now there was nothing, not even debris. "Could the storm have expanded?" asked Commander Vell, Kale's second-in-command. "Impossible," replied the science officer. "The storm wall has been completely stable for 3 years. It doesn't move." But Kale felt worried. Monitoring stations didn't just disappear for no reason on Earth. The underground command center was celebrating. Dr. Minho Park watched the tactical screens showing Doyon's successful mission. "Phase 1 complete," he announced to the assembled scientists and military officers. "We can break through the storm, strike targets, and return safely." Dr. Yoonji Shin looked at her weapon performance data with satisfaction. The quantum cannons worked even better than we hoped. The alien station's shields were completely useless against concentrated storm energy. Captain Jihonam was already planning the next phase. "How many storm riders do we have ready for combat?" 12 ships are fully operational, replied Dr. Samant Lee. 20 more will be ready within 2 weeks. That's enough to begin harassment missions, Minho decided. We start picking off their isolated stations and supply ships. Make them afraid. Make them wonder what's happening over the next month. The attacks continued. Gemini ships and stations throughout their territory began disappearing without explanation. Each time, there was the same pattern, a brief quantum energy spike, then nothing. The alien military leaders were becoming desperate for answers. How are they doing this? Admiral Kale demanded at a meeting of his senior staff. Humans don't have quantum technology. They can't generate storm fields. Maybe they captured more of our technology than we thought, suggested Commander Vell. Even if they did, they're trapped inside the storm barrier. There's no way for them to get out. But Kale's science officer had been studying the attack patterns carefully. Admiral, I have a theory. What if they're not trying to get through the storm? What if they learn to use the storm itself? The idea seemed impossible, but it was the only explanation that made sense. You're saying they turned our own weapon against us? Kale asked quietly. It would explain everything, sir. Ships that can appear and disappear instantly. Weapons that our shields can't stop. If they're somehow riding the quantum storms. ... Kale felt cold fear growing in his chest. The humans weren't trapped and dying. They had learned to swim in the chaos that was supposed to destroy them, and now they were hunting. Captain Una Park stood on the bridge of her Storm Rider ship, watching the swirling quantum energy around them. Her ship, the Soul's Fury, was leading a fleet of 20 Storm Riders through a chaos field that her crew had created themselves. They were no longer just riding the alien storm, they were making their own storms. Storm generators at full power. Captain, reported Lieutenant Taiho Lim from his console. We can maintain this field for 6 hours before needing to recharge. Eunice smiled. 3 months ago, humans could barely survive in the quantum storms. Now they were creating them wherever they wanted to go. All ships, prepare for emergence. Target is the Hegemony Supply Depot at Kepler Station, the 20 human. Ships burst out of the artificial storm like predators jumping from tall grass. The alien supply depot had no warning, no time to prepare. One moment space was empty, the next moment it was full of human warships firing weapons that bent reality itself. All targets destroyed, reported the tactical officer. No survivors detected. Create exit storm and withdraw, Una ordered. We have 3 more targets to hit today. The human ships disappeared back into a quantum storm that formed around them, leaving only empty space and debris where the alien depot used to be. Across Hegemony space, the same scene was happening again and again. Human ships appeared from nowhere, destroyed their targets, and vanished back into chaos. The psychological effect was worse than the physical damage. On the Hegemony homeworld, panic was spreading through the military command. Admiral Kale sat in a meeting room with the leaders of all the alien species and their coalition. Everyone was shouting at once. My supply lines are being cut to pieces, growled General Vex of the Mordock Empire. I've lost 6 cargo fleets in the past week. At least your ships are only disappearing, complained Admiral Zorb of the Crystal Collective. The humans attacked one of our colonies directly. They created a storm right in orbit around our planet, then rained fire down on our military bases. How is this possible? Demanded Fleet Commander Kex. 3 months ago, the humans were trapped and dying. Now they're somehow creating quantum storms at will? Kale looked tired and old. Our science teams think they've figured out how to reverse engineer our storm technology. But they've done something we never thought possible. They've made it portable. Dr. Voth, the Hegemony's chief scientist, stood up to address the group. The humans aren't just copying our technology. They've improved it. Our storm generators are huge machines that take months to build and position. The humans have somehow made storm generators small enough to carry on their ships. So what do we do? Asked General Vex. We don't know, Kale admitted. Every tactic we try fails. We can't predict where they'll attack next because they can create their own travel routes. Can't fight their ships because they retreat into quantum chaos that destroys our vessels if we follow. Meanwhile, on Earth, the underground command center was buzzing with activity. Dr. Minho Park stood in front of a huge tactical display showing all of hegemony space. Red dots marked successful human attacks, and there were hundreds of them. "The harassment campaign is working better than we hoped," he told the assembled military leaders. "The alien military is scattered and confused. They're pulling ships back from the front lines to guard their supply routes." Captain Ji Honam pointed to different areas on the map. "Our intelligence suggests they're having trouble with food and fuel supplies. Several alien colonies are reporting shortages." "What about their morale?" asked Dr. Yoon Ji-shin. "Terrible," replied Captain Doyen Choi, who had just returned from a scouting mission. "We intercepted some of their communications. Our soldiers are terrified. They call our ships storm demons and chaos riders. Some of their crews refuse to go on patrol because they're afraid of running into us." Dr. Gi-won Kim was working on even more advanced technology. "I think I can make our storm generators even more powerful. If we can create bigger storms, we could trap entire enemy fleets and destroy them at once." "How big?" asked Minho. "Big enough to surround a planet," Ji-won replied with a grin. The idea was incredible. Instead of just using storms to travel and attack, they could use them to lay siege to entire worlds. In space, Captain Yuna Park was leading her largest mission yet. 50 storm riders had gathered together to attack the hegemony's main naval base at Sigma Station. It was the biggest alien military installation outside their home system. "All ships, begin storm formation," she ordered. "This is going to be our biggest artificial storm yet." The 50 human ships spread out in a circle around the area where the alien base was located. Then they began to generate quantum chaos fields that connected with each other, creating a massive storm that surrounded the entire base. "Storm field stable," reported Lieutenant Tai-Ho Lim. "The alien base is completely cut off from the outside. Inside the storm, the alien ships couldn't see out, couldn't call for help, and couldn't escape. But the human ships could move freely through the chaos, appearing and disappearing at will." "Begin the attack," Yuna ordered. The battle was completely one-sided. The alien defenders couldn't predict where the humans would strike next, couldn't hit targets that kept vanishing into the storm, and couldn't retreat because they were trapped inside the quantum field. Within 2 hours, the largest alien naval base in the sector was completely destroyed. The storm that was supposed to be humanity's prison had become their greatest weapon. Admiral Kale stood frozen on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the impossible sight before him. The quantum storm wall that had surrounded Earth's solar system for 3 years was collapsing. But as it fell apart, it didn't reveal a dying world full of desperate humans begging for mercy. Instead, Earth blazed with power. Massive energy shields covered the planet like glowing armor. Orbital stations bristled with weapons that pulsed with the same quantum energy as the storms. And rising from the planet's surface were thousands of ships, more ships than the humans had ever possessed before the war. "Sir, enemy fleet count is over 3,000 vessels," his tactical officer reported, his voice shaking. "All of them appear to be storm-capable." Kale felt his heart sink. "How many ships do we have?" 800, Admiral. "And none of them can fight in quantum storms." From the lead human ship, Fleet Admiral Insuk Han watched the alien fleet with cold satisfaction. She had been planning this moment for 3 years, ever since the storm wall first trapped humanity in their own solar system. "All ships, this is Admiral Han," she broadcast to her fleet. "Today we show the galaxy what happens when you try to cage humanity. Begin storm forging operations." Across the human fleet, storm generators came online. But these weren't the small, portable generators they had used for hit-and-run attacks. These were massive systems, built into warships designed specifically for this final battle. Space around the hegemony fleet began to twist and bend as artificial quantum storms formed in dozens of locations. The alien ships found themselves trapped in pockets of chaos that they couldn't navigate or escape from. "Admiral, we're losing ships to the storm fields," reported Commander Vell. "Our vessels can't handle the quantum distortions." "Try to break through to open space," Kale ordered desperately, but it was too late. The human ships moved through the storms like fish swimming in water, appearing next to alien vessels that couldn't see them coming until it was too late. Captain Unipark commanded one of the assault groups, her storm riders dancing through the quantum chaos with deadly grace. Target the command ships first, she ordered her squadron. Cut the head off the snake. Her ships materialized around. A massive hegemony battleship, their quantum cannons charging with concentrated storm energy. The alien ship's shields, designed to stop normal weapons, were useless against attacks that came from inside twisted spacetime itself. The battleship didn't just explode. It folded in on itself and disappeared, taking 800 alien crew members with it. On Earth, Dr. Minho Park watched the battle from the underground command center. After 3 years of desperate work, their plan was finally coming together. Stormfield generators are working perfectly, reported Dr. Gi-Wan Kim. We have complete control over the battlefield. Dr. Yoonji Shin monitored the weapons systems. Quantum cannon effectiveness is at 97%. The alien shields can't adapt to our storm-based weapons. The battle was turning into a massacre. Alien ships that tried to fight were destroyed by weapons they couldn't defend against. Ships that tried to run found themselves trapped in quantum storms that tore them apart. Admiral Kale realized his fleet was doomed. Send a message to all hegemony forces, he ordered. Full retreat. Try to escape to hyperspace. But the human stormfields interfered with alien faster-than-light systems. Ships that tried to jump to hyperspace either failed completely or emerged damaged in random locations. Captain Doyen Choi, flying one of the original Stormrider prototypes, cornered a group of alien cruisers trying to escape. This is for 3 years of imprisonment, he said quietly as he opened fire. The quantum weapons tore through the alien ships like paper. In minutes, the entire group was destroyed. Fleet Admiral Suk Han received reports from all sectors of the battle. Admiral, enemy resistance is collapsing. Several alien commanders are requesting permission to surrender. Accept their surrenders, Han replied. But make it clear, this war ends on our terms. Admiral Kale's flagship was one of the last alien ships still fighting. Surrounded by human vessels and trapped in a storm field, he finally activated his communications system. This is Admiral Kale of the Hegemony Fleet. He broadcast on all frequencies. We surrender. I repeat, we surrender unconditionally. The firing stopped. The quantum storms began to calm. Across the battlefield, alien ships powered down their weapons and waited for human boarding parties. Admiral Han accepted Kale's surrender on the bridge of her flagship. The alien admiral looked broken and defeated. I don't understand, Kale said quietly. How did you do it? 3 years ago, you were barely space-capable. Now you control technology that we thought was impossible. Han smiled coldly. You taught us, Admiral. When you trapped us in your quantum storm, you gave us 3 years to study it, understand it, and master it. You thought you were building our prison. Instead, you gave us the keys to the galaxy. Captain Jiho Nam, standing nearby, added, Humans have one advantage you never understood. We adapt. Every obstacle you put in our way just makes us stronger. The war was over. The Hegemony Coalition, which had controlled most of the galaxy for centuries, surrendered completely. Human storm riders now patrolled trade routes that had once been forbidden to them. But the most important change was in how other species looked at humanity. Before the war, humans had been seen as a minor species, barely worth noticing. Now, they were recognized as the most dangerous military force in the galaxy. The storm that was meant to destroy humanity had instead transformed them into something far greater than they had ever been before.